Alright, time to take our bi-weekly detour into one of the static packs instead of just playing customs every day. I did actually record a weekly run this week, although it was kind of dull, so I'm not sure that'll ever be made into a video. But here what we're going to do is we are going to go for some of the uncleared 5 of a kinds in Star Pack. And I like to space these videos out because, as you can imagine, we're probably going to have to use either Starfish or Ostrich. And we're setting up for Starfish here. It makes sense to do that anyway because you can, even if you want to go for Ostrich instead, it makes a lot of sense to play Elk with tier 1s, save up the gold, then you can pivot into either Starfish or Ostrich if you get the opportunity. So amazing turn 9 here where we get double Platypus in shop and then level up into Alpaca so we can get the instant level 2 Starfish. And since our 2 tier 1s are already level 3, that means that any bass that we buy sell is automatically going to hit the Platypus. I take Spino. I've got no intention of playing for the Spino 5 of a kind. I think I've done that one already. Might as well just take it there to try and preserve a heart. This is one of the issues that you can run into if you're repeatedly going for these, holding the tier 1s right until the very last minute. It can get you into trouble and then you just end up wasting good setups because, you greeded just a bit too hard. Although I'm sure many times in the past I've advocated greeding as much as you possibly can. So kind of a weird scenario here where I actually sell the blobfish in order to buy sell a pill bug, and then the stork pill gives me a level 2 blobfish. So extremely lucky there. And since we take the double real velociraptor, I think you can guess what we're actually going for. Chimera plus Kitsune level 3 on turn 11. Which, it's not really surprising. Even, I've mentioned this in other videos, I think. I'm on 4 hearts here. It matches me with someone on 1 heart. And oftentimes the team on 1 heart will be stronger because they greeded so much. And then their greed paid off. Now here I made a very funny mistake. I bought an ostrich first, not realizing that I still needed to sell the platypus. So I would have lost out on one of the buffs from the starfish if I'd actually kept that ostrich. So I actually bought it and then immediately sold it. It looks a lot weirder when you see that happen on a replay. With the live mouse movement, it's pretty obvious when you see it hovering there and the realization dawns that you've made a huge mistake. So we find another real velo on the level up. Starfish can go because we've immediately transitioned into the ostrich. And I was actually, I don't know if I would say surprised, but all real velos is just so good because they do work on each other. And you can see there that we regenerate both the tomato and the melon. So we're just going to keep farming starfruit and then putting the best perks that we get on the real velos, because both the hawk and the ostrich are obviously going to be ditched as soon as possible. I've mentioned it in a recent video that tomato being moved up to 10 damage, I feel like it makes a really significant difference because previously it was just terrible compared to most of the other tier 6 perks. I mean, it's still not the best, but it's not the worst either. Is it actually? I'm struggling to think now. Maybe there aren't that many tier 6 perks to begin with. But yeah, we managed to get a few activations there. Unfortunately, with Real Velo plus Tomato, you can actually waste the trigger if they don't get to attack a second time. But we managed to activate Ostrich once there. Because the Real Velo's ability is so good, and also the fact that this Starfish gave us such a head start, the Ostrich not really contributing a huge amount of stats per turn doesn't really matter too much. You can see the melon regenerating over and over on 1 unit. It's probably way too strong as it is. Same thing with coconut, although obviously I think it was available on the test server when these changes were originally going live, that you could get coconut or peanut from units like Dumbo Octopus, but that was obviously removed before the Star Pack revamp was released. So again here, you know, classic situation where the lionfish would have knocked out that unit very easily if it didn't regain the melon. In the end, we still lost because the units at the back were too weak. But a couple of nice turns of ostrich scaling are going to sort that problem out pretty easily. I decided not to put Pepper on the real velo at the back because I don't want to waste any of the triggers from the other real velos. I would much rather be regenerating the tomato or the melon. Again, you can see there one of the triggers gets wasted on that tomato that couldn't actually be used. But because we have so many activations, we end up with 3 real velos left at the end there. It does kind of make me wonder how this unit could be fairly adjusted, because at the moment it's one of the best in the game, and yeah, pretty abusable with a lot of different strong units. Again here, this second place real velo is just going to sweep their whole team because we're just regenerating melon every time. But yeah, there it is. Not particularly difficult because real velo's ability is so strong, but 5 real velos completed in Star Pack. So now we move on to the second run, and pretty atypical situation on this channel to be turn 11 with triple elk. I'm not exactly sure how this happened in the end, but yeah, I'm sure the marmoset here is completely maxed out. So we're going to sell everything first. I'm going to pill the stork, hoping to get starfish, and I actually get it. It's pretty rare that happens. Usually if I'm playing for some extremely unlikely scenario where, you know, I get to this position with tons of gold and then I'm just hoping for level 3 starfish, you know, you could play 50 games and not have it happen. But in this particular scenario, I think it only took a few games and I randomly happened to get the starfish. And now, although we were down to 0 gold, we can sell the marmoset. We immediately go up to 27 gold plus a bunch of free rolls. And now we can start getting the platypus to level 3 and looking for more swordfish. I was also thinking about fairy armadillo. I do have a video of a failed attempt at 5 fairy armadillos in a slightly different version of Star Pack. I guess it was before fairy armadillo's ability was changed. But you can see here, I'm actually just like hedging my bets. I don't know which 5 of a kind I'm actually going to go for. And of course now with access to pita bread, level 1 swordfish with lower attack than its health, it can actually just survive its own snipe and then immediately gain all the health back from the pita. So I find the second swordfish and then I find a third one, double platypus. So it's basically decided here that we're going to go for 5 swordfish. Of course, we have to not make the same mistake we made in the previous game. We need to get the platypus to level 3 and sell it before buying the third swordfish. Definitely have made that mistake many times, you know, when playing with new starfish. I mean, I hesitate to call it new because it has been quite a while now, but it does take a bit of getting used to when, you know, a pet changes ability completely. So we completely destroyed this unicorn pack team. Pretty rough on unicorn, I think, when you know, their big units are getting deleted or reduced in stats pretty heavily by swordfish. You know, they're also in a similar boat with cornucopia, that they need a bit of luck in order to get the melon. But soon the swordfish will be dealing enough damage where the melon doesn't actually matter at all. Again, here you can see I'm kind of hedging my bets a little bit. I'm not sure why I didn't just commit here to going for the level 3. Maybe it's just because I'm waiting for the platypus first. And then we get double pita bread activation, and it also matches us with another unicorn pack team. So all the RNG is going in my favor here. And there we go. There's a bass in the shop. We can sell real velo, buy, sell bass, level 3 platypus, and then watch the swordfish just go to the moon here. yeah, 45 swordfish at the front. Pretty difficult to justify starfish the way it is, because, you know, especially, I guess in maybe a competitive format, it's not as bad because the other team is going to be able to tempo you out a lot of the time. But in arena, there's nothing really holding you back from just greeding over and over until you get the perfect setup. And thankfully here, it didn't take many games of greeding for this to actually come to fruition. So there we did the classic sell the level 3 starfish for a level 1. I think actually I should have just hung on to it until I got food in the shop that would let me buff the level 3 starfish to 10 attack. And then we get this very funny round where the swordfish wipes almost all of this unicorn pack team. Another unicorn team. What was going on with the matchmaking in this particular day? But the level 1s at the back are able to survive, and now we can just start buying some more equipment. The 46 swordfish is actually knocking itself out at the moment, so I think we would be well served just buying some, there we go. We can buy some health onto it, and then probably freeze the starfruit. And I'm just going to take the other swordfish now and just give up on scaling and hope that this is going to be good enough to ruin a lot of teams. Another unicorn pack opponent, which just their entire squad gets removed, and then some of the mana snipes knock out a couple of swordfish, but it works out in the end. I think probably mushroom here, or maybe, yeah, mushroom makes the most sense, I think. Put that on the one at the back. Just nice to have any kind of summon to potentially break a tie, because this is a very drawish looking team where we could be wiping entire squads, and then all we need is one unit left to survive. But then we also find a pepper, and I freeze the pair because although it is turn 15, there aren't very many health foods or stat foods left in Star Pack after the revamp. Very funny here that unfortunately we lose because of the rambutan. It did look briefly like we were going to win via the mushroom, but no. So we'll take the pepper. Caramel plus lollipop isn't going to help us. And then a 4 squad where they have a double peanut at the front, but peanut's not really going to do them much good in this scenario. So we take another level 2. So now the one at the back is actually going to knock itself out, which maybe actually reduces the effectiveness of the mushroom, but I don't want the 34 attack or 21 attack guys in the middle knocking themselves out here. So we're actually going to buy a peach on turn 17, which is even worse than a pear, but it is still more health. And again, it's unicorn pack. Like, what was going on here? This is actually something that I've wanted to be in the game for a long time, being able to just choose one pack to play against so that you can, train one matchup, or you can test specific builds against another pack. Yeah, here in this situation, it just happened to give me that with pure RNG. Then lastly, we've got one extra clip here where I ended up with 4 swordfish and 1 real velociraptor. Of course, it can give pepper back to a swordfish, and we can get 2 more attacks from a unit that really should have fainted at start of battle. And again, it's an unsurprising win for a pretty unusual looking team.